everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Kabelo Hlupo, and today's conversation is an important one as we continue to break the silence around HIV. And with me today, I have an inspiring guest, Tšepang Maboee, who's going to share her incredible story, her journey, and the work she does with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. And so what I do here is I try to keep it very informative, but very casual and relaxed as well. So we're going to start with maybe icebreaker questions.
Okay.
If your story, your journey was turned into a movie, what would the title be, and who would play you in the movie?
Who would play me?
Yeah.
Like who ke kgetha kae?
Anywhere. Anybody in the world who could
I would only be the person
who could tell your story as you'd want it told. Okay, but
what wouldn't get it the way it should be, yeah.
Okay, what would the title be?
Yo. What would it be?
Or at least what aspects of your story would you want to be highlighted in that movie?
I think it would. The whole movie would be about survival and acceptance. That's where it would be centered around.
Acceptance and survival.
Yeah.
Okay. What storyline, like what about survival and acceptance would you want to tell?
I think not saying but when I look back, I'm just amazed because I never thought I would be able to survive. And when it comes to acceptance, the reason why I was able to survive through it's mainly because I accepted myself for who I am. I accepted I just accepted my journey and embraced challenging. So
Okay. So we'll get back to the icebreaker questions now. We're in the story. I want you to tell us your story, the journey, how you found out, when you found out, what was that like, and every moment that you feel was important and pivotal in getting you here where you've accepted and you share your story publicly.
When I tested in 2012.
Okay.
It was in 2012, in 2012.
Okay.
So the reason why to go and get tested, we all know when it comes to testing for HIV. So at that time I was only 14. So why 14-year-old testing HIV, you know?
Yeah.
So the reason why I went for testing is because I'm forced all the time we should go and get tested. But next I would see. But I then realized she knew that I was positive.
Okay.
How is she going to
tell you?
This is what's happening. Like she was certain that I'm HIV positive. She might be
It's
positive.
possible, yeah.
My mother passed away in 2008 and the cause of death initially TB.
Okay.
So I think we both know TB is an
opportunistic infection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she was positive, and I believe and end up not taking her meds. That's when I got TB.
Did you know at the time, like when she passed on, after?
No,
yeah. Okay. You just knew
didn't.
TB.
Yes. Like she was really sick, but we didn't know. And then after that's when honestly.
Yes.
So yeah. Cause of death TB.
Okay.
But as I grow up, okay, so this is what happened and this is what happened. So a lot of people who are living with HIV,
Okay.
hangata motho ha qeta ho test a fumana go positive ntho pela batlang ho itshwarisa stress ka yena ko hona jwang.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And for me it's not really important hore na where did you get it? Because it's here now.
Yeah.
It's not like HIV e ke thotseng from birth.
If
Le
a
motho a ka e tholang, it's
partner
different, exactly.
or accident.
It's HIV kaofela. All we have to do kwa hamoela hore e se le teng now. How do we deal with the situation? So back to my story. At that time, the way I perceived HIV was a bit negative because of tsela e re holang ka yona, our societies mo re holelang teng ho tla bo bua hampe,
Stigma.
exactly.
Yeah.
All the time on ntho positive e buang about HIV. So re la ga tsamaya ga lo testa, and ho testing ha rona ne re tsamaya e ne se nna fela, e ne le nkgono wa ka le di-cousins tsa ka tse ding, my sisters also, they tested negative kaofela, and I was the only one who tested positive. It was hurting, shocking,
A lot of things.
yeah. Correct. But haholo it was shocking because I just didn't understand hore na why,
Yeah.
how did it come about, like where it's so I had to accept hore this is how it is, though ke sa ikamoela hang. It took me years hore ke qeteletse ke ikamoetse hore I'm actually living with HIV. At that time ha ke qeta ho testa, I didn't start on my treatment hang. Lebaka e le hore at that time ha no hlahloba fungwana hore you're living with HIV, ho no shejwa hore na CD4 count ya hae kae. Ha ba ke hopola hantle, if it was above 350 copies, no sa qala medication hang. So I didn't start medication because CD4 count ya ka at that time ne le boma 1 point something, donc ka se hopola hantle. Ho tloha 2012 ho fihleletse 2016 in le how we initiate to test and treat. So in le hona ke qala medication at that time.
Okay.
Qala medication on paper hore but not nna ho di.
Okay, wait, let me stop you there. Let's go back to you test to find out you're positive. Nkgono reng?
She didn't una skamoela hore una tseba.
Lelile sitsing kapo is just
Narile sitsi Mafeteng hospital.
Okay, so you test one by one kapo you come back with your
one
results.
by one. So na ke qeta ho testa yaba ho thwe nkgono wa ka ai.
Okay.
So yaba ha fihla wa hlalosetswa, I don't know hore na ke nyana tlameha ho hlalosetswa exactly. So yaba ka mora mono ke se ke tlameha ho bulelwa file jolo ka motho le mos living with HIV ke bulelwa file, come back for hamadi ho tsejwe hore na what is what. So ho tloa ka nako eno she has been quite supportive, but ha ona le ka mohla ke la ka re ho nna ka nako eno we only talked about it ka mora nako le teng ke nahana ne se ke ikamoetse ka nako eno a se ke bua le yena hore na e lo bane le nna jwale se ke dula fatshe ke le mo and going back ke kopanya dintho hore dintho di etsetse ka tsela ye itseng, and I honestly don't understand hore na ho no etsahalang. I still needed answers tsa hore na ho no etsahalang. So ke ha tla ntjwetsa hore she had her own suspicions, though anas na bonnete. So that's when ke gola ntho ngwe hape ke hore ke hotse ke sokodisa ka ho tswa ditlape dihlohong, and it was only me ana tswa ditlape dihlohong, and nna kana go ne se concern ho nna because ne ke nahana mohlomong taba bana ga bapala ka mo so yena e be lona mo elang hore she had her own suspicions, that's why ana batla hore re lo testa hobane le teng hana sa tla fela a tlo tla ntsetsa ne ke sa tlo tlisa rona ntsa reng. So yena ho ya ka ena no kre ka that was the easy way to go about it.
Okay. And how did you cope between when you found out le how so kana kwa test and treat ka pona go so we kamohetse utlwa okay nka nwa dipidisi?
No le boima.
Like what are the everyday conversations you're having in your head as a child, knowing, I mean you said at the time the perception is how negative. So there's I haven't done anything. Why, like what do you tell yourself? What questions are you asking yourself?
Ke nahana ha ke qeta matsatsi ao ha ke qeta I was still in denial.
Okay.
Very in denial because line ena engwe was a bit plain e sa hlaka. So I was in denial ka hore kutlwe ka re line ena e tla be hlakile haeba ihlile I'm living with HIV tla be hlakile. But as time went on ke bona hore ihlile ke ya speedily ke neno ke bulelwa file ke khwa madi ho etswa bo di viral, I mean the CD4 count checked and everything. That's when it started sinking. At that time ne ke qeta ho ngola form 1, so ke tlameha ya form B the next year. So ke nahana hore e la fihla tjhentjha ntho ngata ka like a lot ka hare ho nna because ka nako ne se ke ya le sekolong just for the sake of ya sekolong. Nna ne se ke utlwe ka re ha hona, even if I try ke leke hore nne ke sekolong ke etseng but kutlwe ka re ho ntsona le mo ke lo fihlella teng. At that time, the only thing I thought about was that I'm now limited, like bophelo ba ka se bole limited to a certain point. And it's only because next information, I lacked a lot of information.
So you felt it was a death sentence?
Exactly.
Okay.
Also, we always talk about being stigmatized, but what we tend to run away from is self-stigmatization. Myself included. The first thing it's to isolate myself from batho ba bang. Ha dikolo di bula ke khutlela sekolong ya ba se kutlwe ka re ha ke sa hloka ho hang out with people I used to hang out with. Se ke batla ke limita dinthong tse ngata, se ke le a bit reserved ho latela hore na nne ke le ngwana le modika at that time. So it changed a lot gore ka nako ene ne kutlwa fela hore
how sana choose.
Yeah,
okay. So who qala program ya test and treat, and now you immediately have to start on treatment. Were you ready? Were you willing?
I wasn't. That's why I keep saying I started treatment on paper, but none treatment. I wasn't ready. At that time, why are these people forcing everything on us? I get a test like I'm positive. Has I like all these years with 2016? Why is it all of a sudden? Okay. Why are they doing this?
Yeah.
So kakala treatment but ya bantse sadine. So ne ke le bohlale ka hore ne ke tse hore na ho calculate jwang. I get how ya public hospital en wa tseba hore adherence ya change. Percentage. Yeah. So I would calculate before ke for my checkup if I give sense ke tseba tla me o setse pidisi pedi kgweding hore ke tsebe etsa 100% adherence. So ho no se bobebe hore ba ka hlokomela hore I'm not taking my meds well.
O no di etsang?
Ne ke di stashile ka hara headboard.
So kana kwa unwa kana kwa kire inentse la dinwa kana like when you ntso dinwa kana when you the time comes unka ya tsatsing leno o itshela ka mono.
I didn't even have to do that. I fault a lot of people who ne se banahana hore I'm okay ka mohetse but never sa tsebe hore nna deep down ya gola ntwe nentina ke wa tsa go bohlokwa ka kang ho dula o filelwa pity all the time.
I know.
So in nentina go fela hore you know what, I'm just going to pretend I'm okay with this and tsa hore na ke no dipidisi ke nahana ne se concern ho bona ba tseba go tsapa ngona ta dipidisi all the time go di ngwe le ngwe la ta dipidisi tsa hae. So ne ba sa nahana hore ba hloka hore ba monitor closely hore na am I taking my meds or not.
And then
until
sorry
ka di fumana. So eba ha di fumana, she was so broken, very broken, because ke nana ona ntshepile haholo hore ke utlwisa hore na ho etsalang and I wouldn't do ntwe ka reng.
Where she
that's when she realized hore hlile bothata ntse bo le teng bo boholo. She she neglected me somewhere. I'm okay with the whole thing, but as I'm not okay. So abang khutlisetsa sepetlele
for counseling.
Ya ba ke thola counseling e matla.
Ya pele ne sa o thusa.
It did. What's up bohloko ba counseling ko hore o ka counselor motho o bo sho re ena was intense, but motho yana ka bo yana ha so be ready for change e teng bophelong ba ha ka pa ho amoela ona ho etsalang ke nana ho a tshwana.
Okay.
Gore ka dula mona and try hore o cancel mpontshe hore but ha ba nna ke ikwetse ka kelellong hore I'm not going to accept into none, then I think ha it will impact efe ka pa efe.
So the difference between counseling tsa pele le ena yung khona how
that ine se mputsi mahlo. Also ke nana ntwe la mpula mahloko hore all along ho tloa bo 2012 ho fihleletse nako yo ne ntse ke tsamaya di check up tsa ka ka man ka mo batho ba baholo banka ditlhaga tsa bona. It was so depressing, very depressing. Ha ke fihla ka mo ke fumana hore ke nna ngwana fela ka mona ke batho ba baholo ba tsofetseng. Why am I the only child in here?
Yeah.
You know, until later I realized we have what we call adolescent corner. So I give it adolescent corner. And I'm like, okay. So exactly. All along I'm trying to get my trip. Because I think you're not too happy. No. And how fisha o kopana le bona bana ba banyane ba ipuela openly. Nantse ke no di hlaga hantle mena se o itse atherance ka goding ena shapo. They talk and what we saw ba ikamohetse. They've accepted this is what's happening.
So that helped you as well.
It helped me it did how. That's when I went back home. Had ka taka nako nno le hona ke buleang kelello ke hlokomela hore madira like that time next
Okay, and then you start treatment and now you're doing well, you're adhering actually. What was there a difference for you, Hon? Like, how has taking treatment well impacted your life?
Emotionally, Bill.
Okay.
Taking treatment while also paying attention to what's happening in my body and everything that comes with taking treatment. Positively. It made it also easier for me to accept and live with the fact that I'm HIV positive. Now I know hore ke nka medication. I go for hogamadi, ke bona hore viral load in batla theowa hwa ne le batla ile dimonyana but hona tsene ke bona hore se le bo ma 20 less than 20 copies. That alone was a motivation enough for ke bona hona medication ko nwellang. Now I understand why I have to take my meds. So I think ila change perspective ya ka hanyane hore I should understand. Also, ke nahana hore e entse hore kelelwa ka le nna ke nahane properly. Like ske ka inawa fela to certain aspects ke utlwisisa hore na elantle what's really happening.
Okay, could you explain tabaya U is equal to you to people who may not know nang how le undetectably and
everything? Okay. U equals to U ke undetectable equals to untransmittable. So what it means ke hore ha o nwa ditlhare tsa hao hantle o di tshepahala. Also when you pay attention to, because I feel like re batla ho limit fela ho ya ditlhare, but we also don't understand hore na ntho tse ngata tse ka etsang hore viral load is ka ba undetectable. Motho ntse ka ona ditlhare tsa hae hantle, but on the sides ebe they are engaging in unprotected sex ka batho ba sa tsebeng le hore na what's their status. And we should understand hore by so doing o santse ipeya monyetleng wa reinfection. Reinfection e leng tshwaetso pheto hore ka boetse wa tlo fumana o bile infected with the new strain ya HIV. Exactly. So when we say when we talk about U equals to U, we simply say motho viral load ya hae undetectable. Viral load ya hae undetectable, it simply means that sekgahla sa tshwaetso mmeleng se batla se le tlase haholo hore se ka detecte. It's very low. So how le jalo motho a ka se transmit the virus sexually. So U equals to U e bolela hore undetectable equals to untransmittable. E leng yona ntho e qetang ho ihlalosa hore ha so le boemong bo re reng undetectable, you can't transmit the virus sexually to anyone. Yes.
Okay. And you've spoken about how you felt as a child.
Sorry, okay. Happy because I know a lot of people are confused. It doesn't automatically mean that viral load is undetectable.
Yes.
It doesn't really automatically mean motor viral load is undetectable. For an individual viral load is undetectable, they have to go for blood tests. Viral load is undetectable.
Okay.
And how long does it take for motor viral load is undetectable? Highly fella we it can take more than 6 months. In 6 months it's a maximum. Though but within 3 months it's undetectable. It depends on motor melwa. Lower now viral load I think that's also what matters.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes, as I was trying to say, you've spoken about how you felt as a child, but how has living with HIV, how solely aware as a young woman up to now affected you as a woman? How has that journey been from the perspective of a woman in today's day and age? Social media, perceptions about sona stigma again.
It affected me, Bill, not now. Me being HIV positive, high change late. And only next day then I think
Okay.
When I first talked about my HIV status on social media, we had this conversation earlier. When I first talked about it, I wasn't aware of now social media. I didn't pay attention to the me speaking openly, only the positive side of it, but the negatives also. So it hit a whole because in the whole and it was even worse because at that time Nicola is a first year canal. So me being in a new environment already since ke fumana backlash e jwalo from social media, exactly, because ntse ke hopola ga ke fihla go man ne ke bitswa ngwana mona wa AIDS. It's something ne ke se ready for yona emotionally, to a point where ke a tseba go boneng go ya campusing was a struggle for me. Hobane I would try to put up a brave face and a strong face, but
like
deep
you don't
down,
care or it doesn't affect
but
you.
deep down, in an affect haholo.
Yeah.
Ebe ke batla ho itlela hape relationship wise, romantic relationship wise. Ha ke fihla goma ine le hona motho ka rankelelo ya bule also open to role and all that. And ke hopola gore the first boyfriend ke bileng le ena ke fihla goma o na re ho nna, Tšepang, I don't have a problem with you being HIV positive, but my problem is, why do you have to talk about it? Like, why?
Which is what I asked you. Like, why did you feel it was important for you to share your story publicly? Because
I knew that a lot of people needed that. Because I knew I tested Tšepang Maboee buang openly about his status. My journey would have been a whole lot easier. I never Tšepang Maboee when I tested. So ne go tlisa hona le batho ba hlokang ntwena. Much as nna ne ke sa utlwisisa hore na e tlo tla damage ha kae. At that time ke sa hlokomela hore na the negatives tse tlang le tsona ke di feng. So yes. So ena bothata ba haine le hore ha ke na bothata go wa moetsi yo HIV positive. But now really why tla me re tsa motho mo le mo yo living with HIV. Ke a mashiteng re blow message tsa ntse tsa wena gona ha o ke a lo busy. O ba go living with HIV. So ke nahana at that time, much as ne ke kopana le di challenge, if there's anything e bileng tse ke leng grateful ka yona kore I never gave up. I never wanted to quit because I knew hore na goal ya ka ke efeng.
Did you ever consider backing down? Because I remember one of the other things you said in an interview is how Noya UK, you're going to represent Bacha. And then you got there on BBC and you said, oh, I have HIV and AIDS.
Yes.
So have you considered, like, any time a person who cares for you, I never did.
When it comes to that, I've been very selfish.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I went public, but I knew to a point where none is because Lena has a kilo to give and introspect why, even though I want to know Libim. Sabile ki fitla point in kutlanye kare ho feta nna, this was God's calling. Kutle kare hona le dintho tse ding tse ne ke sebediswa ke modimo, because nna as a person ha ke di sheba ke utlwa hore where did I get that strength? A lot of people ask me hore now where do you draw your strength from?
Even now
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
Ha ke tsebe because I know hore ho etsala dintho tse ngata tseo e tla maybe motho wa nama le madibe o give up, but I never do. And because ya ho give up ha ke betle ka hloho. I cry ke a tseba hore ke a lla ha di challenge di ba teng, but yes ke betsa ha le ke o give up. Every time when a challenge comes ke itse hore I'm going to face this, it will feta, and then I have to move on.
But never that.
But never.
Okay. What in this journey of yours has brought you the most joy, Kapo? The one moment that stands out as a moment, I'm so proud I've done this way.
I think edulang yetsa stand out, it's me receiving melaetsa ya batho who were at the verge of giving up, at the verge of committing suicide. Ebe motho a njwetsa hore you just don't know hore na impact e o e etsang e kgolo ha kae. By just waking up and coming across your post, ntho eno e tjhentjha bophelo ba ka ka tsela e kgethehileng. And it's something eo motho e mong a kekeng a ba e tsotella, you know. But to me, it does something.
That's your why. Like,
exactly.
It answers, why do you
why am I doing this? Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think, knowing hore, you know, even if I get invited to an event, I'm going to talk to people. One way or the other, impact at least exactly. So I think nicely what fulfills me, it's knowing that motho e mong o le go bala a le relaxed tsatsing na bosibu pelo e theoile, because a utlwisisa hore ha mong in this journey, we're working this journey together and re tlo e win.
Okay. Yeah. What do you know now that you wish you'd heard, or somebody had told you at the beginning of this journey?
It's that I didn't have to beat up myself with the fact that I'm living with HIV. Because at that time, knowledge it's a burden. With HIV, it's a burden. But unfortunately, it's not. I honestly wish I knew that because in a much mature way because choose.
And obviously, for this question, I know it's not a one size fits all, but when it comes to disclosing batswadi ho bana or caretakers to kids, how do you think, kapo, what do you wish had been the approach, kapo? Yes.
With me?
Not generally. How do you, when you speak about it,
how do they go about it?
Motho a moholo a tsebang, maybe as a mom, a tseba, okay, this is, because in some instances, ke kukufela motho a re ngwana o ntsa fuwa dipidisi
a sa tsebe
o tseba fela go hotse ana ditlhare be ha le bo 13 o iswa adolescent corner, that's how they find out. So maybe make it personal. How do you wish maybe this had yeah.
Hi, it had it had, but ke nahana hore the best way to go about it ko hore introduce ngwana how to the program tse buang ka not just ho mo limitela ho HIV fela mo introduce di programming tsa batjha tsa bana so that a ka utlwisisa bophelo ka tsela engwe different, you know, so that when time comes ya ho qeteletse o disclose itse hore the reason why you're taking your meds ko bana ho le tjena e boima e hlile o bua nnete hore it's you can't say motho mo le motlametsa tjena
yeah,
because batswadi ba bang still approach me e lo bana ba ingwetse hore ena yona hlile ha ke tsebe hore na ke etsa ka tsela jwang, and I feel like if ele wena a mo dudisang fatshe o le ka mo shebisa hore this is what's happening, then ho tla batla ho le betere. I remember this one incident ya ngwana ana a sa tsebe hore na ho etsalang ya ba ha sa qeteletsa a jwetsuwe hore she's living with HIV a batlela dipidisi a ba sa no dipidisi.
Okay.
And all along anantsa di, you know, to a point where la qeteletsa fihletse line, the last line ya di ARV ilo bani hlilana sa ba le resistant o tsena tse ding, so it was bad. So that's when they ya ba se ba re ke buelena at that point, but ya ba ke bona hore ntho ana e hloka go re fela actually an understanding. So if ntho bana ba e hloka go re fela utlwisisa hore na what's happening, also get support ka tlong by that way kutle ka re e ka batla ba etsa dintho di be betere.
Okay. And disclosing, when you speak about it publicly, but there's people not well, I don't know, people who've not shared it,
who are not comfortable
who are
with
not
sharing it.
But one of the other things tse batho ba buang ka tsona ha ba bua about HIV and having partners with HIV is that they feel like they have the right to know. Motho e mong tla ba re na ha wa njwetsa keng, like what are the conversations you have, especially as activists, around disclosing?
Na advice like it's a bit selfish.
Okay.
It's a bit selfish because every time na ke nahanela people living with HIV.
Okay.
Ke bona priority ya. So I think with me, kutlwe ka re motho, the only time motho a tlamehang ho disclose ke ha ikamohetse with me. Lebaka le ke tshwana jwalo ke hobane ha o discloser when o le mogotsi wa ka ke qeta ho testa hang ka kelellong ke ipha hore you're my closest friend and ntwe ke lebeletseng ho wena ha ona ntho engwe ntle le hore on support. That's the only thing I want from you. And ha fihla ke discloser ebe o mpha reaction e fapaneng le ke lebeletseng, it cuts even deeper. Ho fihla ko to a point where o so sa se ke sa tlo focusa hore how do I start my treatment ke tseng se tlo dilana le hore now jwale o so ntreata ka tsela e itseng. That's why ke utlwang ka re taba pele ke hore o ikamohela. How qeta ho ikamohela, then you can disclose. O sa tsotele hore na motho o nka ka tsela jwang o etsang, you know you're fine and ha ona taba. Though when it comes to relationships, it's a bit complicated because if you're going to get sexual, if you're not going to use protection, then I have a right to know what's your status. But really, since you don't even initiate
test. Yes, because I've heard somebody say, "Nakenwa dipidisi tsaka now I'm doing my bit.
Hey,
If
wena
re tlo
what-
kopana, wena ha o mpotse letho, ha o re letho,
why
why
ke
ke
tlameha ho inahanela be ke o nahanele
especially because Luena Hawanjus it's
Hore
not
na
like
ho
yeah,
etsahala,
but it's just
eh.
we're both not saying anything
and
about
utlwisisa gore le wena ka nna o mpeile tsietsing ya gore you can't even know e ka nna ba
Ha o
you
tsebe
possibly
le
don't know your status and o tlo reinfecta le nna ke tseba gore ke ikamohetse ke itse ke nwa treatment you understand so ena ya di-relationshipeng e hlile yona it's a bit tricky because ntho e ke dulang ke etsa gore na ha re nke just a random girl re o qala ho jola ha le mo di-19 and boyfriend ya hae ya pele ha le 19 wa mo jwetsa I'm living with HIV
Yeah.
at 22 sa gwane le yena kapa 21 o
jwetsa
sa tlameha o jwetsa e mong
yeah.
o tlo fumana hore motho ena go no ntse o tshwana hela ha ine ba wile radio nga hlabetsa lefatshe kaofela I'm living with HIV ho latela gona o tla ba disclose batho ba bangata ha kae
Okay.
so nna hlile ho nna kutlwe kare for as long as you know hore ha o be motho e mong tsietseng ya go ka motshwaetsa then you're okay to keep your status to yourself until when o utlwe ka go read only if you know hore ha wa be ngwane eno e mong tsietseng ya go motshwaetsa it gets a bit selfish how it's about how you're living with HIV you're not
you're
taking
not
your meds
taking
but ebe o tlo kopana
precautions.
exactly
Yeah.
ke mo e batlang e le bohloko teng
Okay.
but as long as you're taking your meds there's no way o tlo tla o tshwaetsa motho e mong then I don't understand hore now why o tlameha ho foster go disclose the while you feel you're not ready to disclose
Okay. And then with self-stigma, sometimes it's not other people. It's the
it's
people.
me.
Yeah. Is there other tools there or or that you've come across? Okay, this is a program. They're living with HIV and
not really but not really but kutlwe ka re ntse tlo nkgutlisetsa tabeng ya acceptance hore in this whole journey like everything is only possible if you accept yourself though ke tseba hore it's ebile ha se ntho e bobebe if for me it took me ho tloha 2012 to 2017 it's not something that you just wake up and decide hore ke ikamohetsa gore I'm living with HIV ke lo qala treatment and all that but kutlwe ka re
okay. So
Yeah.
tell us more about the work you do
okay
as an activist. Haholo le bacha. Like, what are you hoping to achieve with raising awareness, with sharing publicly, I mean, you've already spoken about your why, but the larger goal, handseli, li share le tsamaya, batho ba test, le ba ruta ka test and treat, all of those things. What are you trying to do?
To tell you, I do most of my activism on social media.
Okay.
I do get TV interviews, radio interviews, and all that. But holo program. I mean, the platform that I use is social media. And so far, I think I'm positive to say I know that impact le maphelo a batho ba bangata haholo. E ke leng confident ka yona hore batho now understand it ho feta pele ke ena ya you equals to you because I feel like it's a concept batho ba bangata ne ba sa utlwisise but now I think
It's making sense.
it's making
for people.
sense hanyane ka hanyane re bantse re batla go utlwisisa and as to what I want to I also le masafety link le ka qala a campaign ya ho distributor condoms around clubs tsa maseo and lebaka ene le hore at that time no se le nako ena o batlang ho ba busy le festive and boholo ba batho who tested positive o tlo ka hore they tested positive because of being careless so ne go tlisa ekare if we give out condoms re etsa hore di be haufi le bona then e se tla ba ho motho hore ka nnete nna mosebetsi wa go yentsa I'm trying hore I should meet you guys halfway but I was still ntso tla o khutla being infected even though the initiatives tse tshena tse di so then ha ke sa tseba so what I'm trying to achieve ka gola ke hore ha ba re tlo dula fatshe and expect hore ntwe ngwe le ngwe re tlo tla re etsetswa ke mmuso because kuke ka re ihlile ntwe ngwe le ngwe ona tsa se re lebeletse re etsetswa ke mmuso then ha ona mo re tlo tla re fihla teng of course there are programs tse di etswa ke the government and NGOs tse ikemetseng hore di bona hore people understand hore now what's HIV le hore now how do they cope with it but le teng approach tsa bona hangata o tlo fumana hore they don't really understand hore na ba bua le bo mang and how do they have to go about it concern bona go re fela di statistics di funds di kene tšhelete di balo hore re ntse procurement and all that so with me go tle ka re I ke mocha I go clubbing ke phela le bona maseru mona I know hore na lifestyle rona ke mofuta of eng and approach eke sebedisang hope ya ka ko hore at least I can get through to them ba utlwisisa
Yeah,
hore
because
na
I've
ke bua.
seen the posts or mucha ARV.
Exactly, you know, it
Let's
should
go
be
out
casual.
and-
Ha ya
yeah.
tlameha hore nako ohle ebe formally be re dutse ka ga di-seminar, di-forum le di-minister ho bua dintho tse serious.
Yeah.
Because ha re tlala ka tsela e jwalo teng,
He
rona re
tried,
tla tlo
yeah,
sokola.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So how does a person who's interested in joining the work you do join? Like, how do they find you? How do they
Okay.
help if that's the sort of thing you...
And I help if like in a few months to come.
Yeah, you said.
I'm in a process, yeah, to register my NGO and I'm going to need as much help as I can. But I cannot do it alone.
Yeah.
The activism is because go post stuff on my social media and all that. But initially so for people who want to talk to me, I closely I do know more because one let's see you.
But you didn't Facebook on that post on that.
Abadi so tell you more. More no kina na badi taba. Hadi bua kina it's now way different.
Oh, okay.
But on Facebook, Tšepang Maboee, I think that's where I'm easily accessible.
Okay. All right. So I think when it comes to the health aspect of it, and we've covered the basics.
Yeah.
Now I want to find out, like, emotionally, mentally, like, all of what makes you you. Has anything changed? Like, because, and I want to say this carefully, because when I lead into that even now, it's not that stigma. Yeah, because when I'm not okay. When I do hashtag, there's people saying things, and like our age mates, it's people who are not supposed to be ignorant and things like that. How do you handle? Yeah, because like how do you, like, it's not that or trend. Yeah, you may be trending for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But people always find a way to make
To
it
go
about
back to HIV all the time.
Yeah.
One
So
minute.
mental health, like how do you navigate into jalo?
In a recent interview, I mentioned it. One minute, much as dintho tse tlabe di bua on social media, because kutlwe ka re motho ha le behind keyboard ya hae ya type, they don't mind. Gore
Ho
ha
bua
tso
ntho
teng
ae
hore na
ratang.
ntho ha tlo tla ngola lo fihla jwang on the next person. And ho tloha nna ke tsebe hore na ke thotse dintho tse ngata ha kae on social media. Kore if I had to sit and think, tse ding ke tlo di lebala lo di lebala, because sometimes ke tlo tla ke qosetswa fela hore ke kutile hloho jwang you know.
Yeah.
Ke ntse ka ntse.
Yeah.
And honestly didn't change. My character or my personality, I get to ke tla re ke character kapa personality. Kutlwe ka re ha ke sa le tshepang eo pele ntho tsena tsa social media kaofela ne ke le ena. I know hore I'm a very bubbly person. Ke a bua haholo,
Very
I'm not speaking
friendly.
exactly. But now I'm a bit reserved. Se ke batla ke le reserved haholo. I mind what I say, where I say all the time. Ke ntho e ntshosang all the time, to a point where ha ka ga ke tswa monyako mo ebe ke dumedisa motho ebe ke bona nsheba jwang ka nako ngwe motho eno nsheba because a makaletse mohlomong ntho ne ke tinne ha ntse belo from social media. But nna sentse ke
At the
ipotsa
back of your head.
sentse ke ipotsa hore ebe is she one of the people ba mpuang hampe on social media? If kena, then I'm okay, ha ke mo dumedisa hape. So ehlile eng affectile to that point hore ehlile hona tsena se ke batla kelelwa ka se le se ke pay attention to dintho tse sa matter lo matter.
Okay.
Ho se qeteletse ke overthinkile dintho tse ding hona tsena nka fihla ka nka ka pelo just because when ntho engwe and kutlwe ka re it's because le wena o sontso dintho tse etsalang on social media and all that. So ke nana ehlile eng affectile ka tsela eno e jalo. But I have my coping mechanism because letting I also need to understand hore much as hona le batho ba tle ba bua dintho tse negative about me, there are a lot of people who love me. And it would be unfair ho motho a kopana le nna a tseba hore ke motho a ratang ebe ke mo fa attitude just because sentse ke nahana hore mohlomong ke motho a sa rateng. So I think when it comes to dintho tsa social media, my coping mechanism ko ho ignore. Hangata ha ke ignore because ntse ke sa bone hore na ho ntso thweng. Ntse ke di bona hore na ho ntso thweng, but so far ke ithutile hore ho thola ke yone etsang hore dintho di be betere. Because ha o ithuta ho sheba batho ba bang, ha o qala o bua, you give them a platform ya hore ba tswele pele lo ntse ba bua. If o tlo tla wa arabisana le bona mang a etsang, then I can't have my energy wasted on that, honestly. And ehlile ya ho thola has really helped me a lot.
But where do you find the courage? Like, where do you draw the strength?
God.
Tell me more about that, because I was speaking to a friend of mine and I was like, now when I go through things, which is something I'm working on, is to not say why me, but as a Christian, there's moments where I struggle. I'm like, okay, God, but
I think it happens.
yeah. So what's that relationship like where things do happen, and sometimes as a person naturally so how do you,
with my relationship to God, ke fitletse point e se ke ikamoetse hore ke a kgola ebile se batho ba close ho nna se bile ba nkile ka tsele jwalo ke a tseba hore challenge e tlo hlaha, but after that ke a tseba hore there's always something positive e tlo tla etsahala ka mora mono. Ke tlo etsa mohlala ka something out of dintho tsa social media and all that. Ke a tseba hore I would be desperate for something haholo. And desperation it means me praying about it. And even though it's not exactly what I prayed for, but this is God trying to answer to so with me ke nahana hore ke se ke ikametse hore ke a tseba hore ha ona nako e nka struggling, ha ona nako e nka dulang ke lla, because I know hore God is with me all the time. And ho sa tsotelle rona dintho di nkutlwisa bohloko haka, he always finds a way to comfort me. Ho sa tsotelle rona ke situation e feng. Also ke nahana hore ekaba I'm selfish ho kwekare all the credit, of course credit e ngwe deserve but there are also people close to me.
Yes.
Ba ingwetso.
Yes, I was gonna ask, like, how did you your support system?
Yeah.
Or how did you build that? Like, talk me through.
How did I get?
Yeah, how did you end up here with the network and the support and?
Ke nahana hore taba hore I'm naturally motho a buang, like I can't hide how I feel. So ke nahana hore it somehow contributes hore ke be le relationship tse batho tse hantle le batho. I'm going to say ntho exactly how I feel about it. If we have to talk things through, because I think I value relationships whole to a point where nka tlohela pride in cities or ka bua ntho, but ke utlwe ekare it's something that we could work on. So ke nahana hore ehlile with relationships that I have relationship le batho ba, not romantic relationships, but with people who understand me and who understand me of social media.
Yeah.
But on social media, it's not all the time I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
But with them, I am me. Like they know me. And I think that's why able for them to just support me.
And for people who are maybe to open up, maybe they're still struggling with this thing, and stuff like that. How do you think people get to a place where they feel like they can trust mutaizing?
Because Lena, it's still a challenge. I always say one of my weaknesses, the reason why I guess I can never hold it, because I know who I'm too trusting, and I easily.
So anybody who watches this and thought they were your friend, they're not your friend.
They know what I mean. I have.
Okay.
But bana
Your
limit,
circle,
bana le limit mo ke ba beetseng teng. I can't fully open to motho e mong le mong. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Lebaka la ka ko hore ona tjena if you drink drinks di jwa ga dula fatshe ga ja for about 2 hours nyana, trust me ke tlotla mona na ntho engwe leo ke tlotla mona ke a gone le wena o tseba ntho engwe leo, and that's because I am too trusting. Ha ke fitla on smiletse o kutlwa hore
Lwena wa phutullo.
ke a phutullo, wow, she's so nice. Maybe I can just tell her, na ho etsalang ha o etsahale. I think that's why ihlile nna se ke ihlile se ke le tjena I'm close and you tlisa bohloko because mogotsi wa ka close ho nna hona tje. It took me time hore ke qeteletse ke mo ntse let in, because I remember she would always send me messages on Facebook or, can we please go out for lunch? I just want to get close to you, And it took me nako e telele hobane hlile ha esale ke ikwetse kutlwa hore I'm not going to let anyone close to me, because ke a tseba hore ke be ke tlo ba tshepa ba qeta ba tshepa
Ke bona ba longola.
So I think ihlile na ya ho trust batho e
Okay, but how can if it's hard for me to now trust you, how do you approach me? Or like atamelo maybe from the other person, like your friend, or she persisted and she pursued you.
Yatin, highly wena who has to do the pursuing. Yatina, because also I'm not only has enough important. And attention, the same attention. It doesn't mean the same people they have their own demons since and I can't be selfish and say be more persistent, push
a bit patient.
As a person let your guard down and just give people even though it's not it's not 100% given all the time, so it's a risk. And
it's okay,
I'll be fine. But also I wish people could have a serious relationship I have a very serious relationship.
You're nice to yourself.
Very serious relationship with myself. To a point where because I enjoy being with myself. I have conversations with myself, it's kind of going to but most of the time I love spending time with myself so much. But that's why people should invest more in relationship with them. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what are some of the things you do, like self-care habits? How do you take care of yourself?
Emotionally?
Holistically, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, like what do you do in order to say, okay, like I'm feeling like myself, I'm feeling good.
Apple is always looking good. I know not that all the time.
Yeah, but you make an effort.
Hey, make an effort. However, you're going to have a relationship with yourself. Now, would I want to be with this person? Also, I read novels self-love because it helps me. It has helped me to move away from social media and spending much time on social media. Because social media has become very toxic. And reading novels, just entertaining, but it also gives me knowledge. Also, take yourself out. Now I can go clubbing.
Really?
Or
even by
it doesn't
yourself.
like if and buy my drinks and sit down and dance.
You had your
my
fun.
boyfriend knows that. It's because the only thing I want I just want to have fun.
Out.
Exactly.
Okay.
And a lot of people struggle because I will be able to but I'm okay with that.
Also, okay, sorry. Lifestyle. I want you to touch on lifestyle as a person living with HIV when it comes to diet, maybe physical activity and things like that.
I'm not going.
Fruits and vegetables, 2 liters of water. Yeah, you did the Hawaiian challenge. Okay.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing special.
There's nothing special. It has always worked for me. And when it comes to exercising,
so there's nothing
there's nothing unique that I do.
Okay.
But body. Also, so we can't really compare.
Okay.
But
so there's no special thing that outside of taking your treatment well, do this, don't do this. Don't smoke, don't do this.
And okay, I also should touch on this. I drink, but drinking I limit. I don't drink every weekend. It's from Friday to Sunday. Next week again, from Sunday to because I think I also, even though I guess I'd say whole about science, but I also understand how kidneys are going to say
Listen
medication is no, I can't do that.
Okay. Also, while we're on the subject, we all know, I think we all should know, but most people choose who unwa ka bo 8 bosibu. Okay. So because like I said,
honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes, just like yesterday, I had a hangover yesterday. Hangover,
yeah.
and it becomes a bit difficult to take my meds because since it's well, so that's why I didn't take it because of course not choose.
Okay.
And make myself look better. Those are some of the challenges. That's why I limit intake alcohol as much as I can because since it's well. Medication and I can't keep missing my dose all the time. I can't.
And then side effects, because people used to say, what yeah, I want you to tell people these things are not true, but
yeah, well, because I did it
but yeah.
No, well, the only thing in Kabanga is you know, every time I get no medication, come up horror. But I come out when I have 2 months. Who's on Alimuchis when so Christmas and cats about the again. Security channel, like I start. Where's I'm just and I know at that time, otherwise,
but science has come a really long way.
Yo, it
and
has.
How's an any multivitamin. Yeah.
Exactly.
But alcohol intake high kopani le ditlhare. So like people who do that because because 8 and you're out clubbing Friday through Sunday.
Because sometimes and if you want it, so because alcohol and yeah.
Okay, so I want to also know from you personally, there's a lot of things. So you said you don't want to just focus on the advocacy work,
yes,
but it's important to you. At the end of all of this, maybe at the end of your life, you lived well and you did what you were supposed to do. You served the people God sent you to serve and you did it well. Like, what would you want to have done with your life?
Behind the desk. From 8
to 5.
Not me.
That's not your story.
That's
not
me.
your ministry.
I'm out there. I'm on the streets. I'm out there talking to people, interacting with people. To a point where reality shows, it's where my heart is besides the activism. Being behind the camera, guys, it fulfills me.
Why did you stop?
I had a lot of challenges, but shooting, it should be big and young.
Okay.
Yes.
So what can we expect from you?
Production, it would taking track hash.
Okay.
Also, the reality show I appreciated. And we share many more reality shows because I have a lot of ideas. And also, much as the ideas, I can't survive.
I know the feeling.
But that's where my heart is.
Okay, so right now you're working on the reality show and take me to my crush.
Yes.
Okay.
And the NGO also.
Oh yes, you did
Yes.
say utasho how so register so that people can know how to support
help
you.
and-
But now, what do you think are some of the things you'd be looking for? How about babatla who support? Are you looking for volunteers? Are you looking for funding?
I think
what?
volunteers and funding, because it means so now we have to go out and meet with people and also also it can't always be me. And say we understand how and definitely how to financial dates, but we're here, we know we're going to push this vision of let's
Okay.
Yeah.
But what is primarily Musezo Batlangweza through the NGO wona kufeng?
I know ho hona le di-NGO tse ngata tse lekileng ho ba a gap.
Okay.
What I want to do,
Yeah.
what I want to do ko ho ba a gap to bridge in the gap between the patients and the health facilities, because I feel like hona le dintho tse ngata tse etsahalang in the health facilities tse etsang hore ebe patients ba qetelletse not ha ke tlo e limita fela on people living with HIV and AIDS. There are a lot of things that the health facility.
Yeah.
I just want to be prijibo kwalang gap eno e mono. Hanyane ka hola ke tlo etsa mohlala with people living with HIV hore lebaka le leng le etsang hore batho ba tswa for ya ho ho hathera ko ke ena ya ho tlameha ho lata dipidisi all the time. So how do we find a way ya hore re batamele and access ya bona ya dipidisi ba tla ile betere hona le gore be motho wa try every month a little declare and all that.
Okay.
Also rena le counseling dipetlele tsa rona, but is it doing what it should be doing? Like, are they reaching out like ba fihlela mo ba tlameha hore ba fihlela teng? So ke dintho tse ding tse ntse re tlo di sheba hore we should also try to have relationship e batlang e le closer with our patients, so that results tse re tla di thola from the patient ka boyena ba tle be the results tse betere haholo.
Okay.
Yes.
And is there anything else you'd want to share with anybody who's watching this video, either as a person living with HIV, or as a person who would want to join your advocacy work? Anything? Last words.
I think what's that one thing you can passionately for me it's HIV because I think that's where my passion is. So what I would want to say, I wish people could understand that people living with HIV are also human with blood, and dintho tse batho ba di buang hangata di re utlwisa bohloko. We have aspirations, we have inspirations, we also want to achieve dintho tse itseng bophelong. Ha ke bue ntho ne ke buang ha ke bue ho motho a reng directly ke phela with people o le motho a phelang with HIV, gore ke bua motho e mo le mong hona tsena ke na for plus 1 ke tswa mo nka tloga ke na for plus 1 le motho e mantse ipuela fela ka tsela batlang with people living with HIV a sa tsebe le hore we in the presence of motho e le kana ba qeta ho testa and they're finding it so hard to deal with all this. So I wish people could really be mindful of what they say all the time. So but I wish people could really be mindful of what they say, because strong we have suicide of people killing themselves what people say. But we do live for people, and everything it's going to come back to me and say like I really
you
wish
internalize.
I wish people could really be mindful of what they say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for for doing this as my first official guest. Thank you so much for joining me. Guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for staying until the end. Remember, your support matters, your advocacy matters, what you say matters. Please don't forget to spread the message, the awareness, share with somebody who might benefit from hearing this. Don't forget to like as well and comment. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section and we will see to it that we respond to the questions that you may have. You can find her on Facebook, Tšepang Maboee. She has a way you can reach her on her profile. You can also message me on Instagram, on Facebook, or on Twitter. And if you need to, I can connect you with her. So yeah, just reach out if you need to talk, reach out if you need help, and